Hey everybody. Um, Hi. Welcome to Thursday here at the Comfy Nest with Grace. It is November 30th. Welcome, welcome. I am going to be lighting the candle because I've been really the flame of the candle it's more than the scent of the candle. The flame of the candle really relaxes me, and so we're going to do some craft therapy this morning. I'm going to do some journaling. Now, I'm having some lighting issues, so you're going to hear some banging around back here. Okay, just somebody can say in the comments, those of you crafty chicks that know me so well can say, hey, she it's all is good. No one fell down. I'm totally fine, but my lighting is all unplugged. I'll tell you why here in a second. I just got to get it plugged back in. Yeah, baby, there's some light. All right, now we got some juice. Okay. Oh, something fell. It wasn't me. It was something fell. I'm back. Hello, hello. All right, let's see if, whoa, that light is real. Jeez, the light is really, really bright now. Oh, good gravy, girls. Okay, so yesterday was such an exciting day, but I'm not gonna lie. I'll be totally honest with you. A little stressful. No, it was a lot stressful actually. Clear the clutter day. What stressed me most about that, you guys, and good morning if you're here. Please say hello. I'm not seeing any comments, which makes me wonder, is the live feed working? Is it working? Hold on, girls. We better do a quick check. Because usually by now someone has piped in to say hello. You guys are also good. Yeah, I'm live. There we go. My Wi-Fi must just be slow or something. There's Kimberly and Leslie. Good morning. Thank you for saying hello. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I do appreciate you guys. So yesterday, can I just talk to you about this for a minute? So yesterday, and I couldn't even, I'm so stressed. I couldn't even decide what to, like, I was like, water, coffee. So I got both. I got my coffee here. I got my water there. I just thought this way for the next hour while we're hanging out, I'm covered on both ends, right? Okay. So yesterday, it actually started, 2 days before that, 3 days before that, when we decided to do this event. A couple of things, somebody in our little group needed to do, like the graphics and stuff like that. So I volunteered to do that stuff because I know everybody's so busy. It's such a busy time. So I got it done. The cute little pink, I thought it was cute, the pink thing that said clear the clutter. And I was focused on that for a few days. And then I was like, okay, Grace, now you got to start focusing on where do I declutter? Because I told you this stuff is all over my house. I can't just take you to one space and declutter. I have to either roam the house with camera, which is very difficult to do, especially when you need your hands to be sorting and separating and organizing. So what I decided to do was to haul everything into my dining room, as you saw yesterday. That was stressful, only because it disrupted my whole normal daily routine and my family's whole normal daily routine, which was, I don't know, it just was stressful to me. Does that kind of stuff stress you out? It stresses me out just because it's like I like to have a routine and I like things to just be seamless. And this was a big blip in that seamless schedule that we usually have, but not, it was stressful getting ready, particularly because we're going online. It's a total another thing. If you guys are going to do this on your own in your own kitchen, nobody else got to see it, but we were out in the world showing the world. And that was very nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking is the word I would use. Anyway, I'm so glad that we did this though, because just like all of you, we have bins of stuff that we collect over the years. Whether, you collect it because your intention is to eventually use it, which I think every crafter does. Or for, like in my case, a lot of these craft supplies were inventory purchases made for craft kits that are leftover. So they're leftover craft kit content. And I they've just been adding up, adding up, adding up, and it was really good to get them all boxed up. Like 8 boxes are going out this morning, so thank you to everybody who ordered. You can still order a mystery box if you want one of those mystery box of craft supplies. You can go to my website, thecompanyhousewithgrace.com, and grab one. Just go to the shop or you just use the search tab and type in clear the clutter and it'll come up. Good morning, Rita. So it does actually feel really good to be, I cleaned out like 4 tubs of stuff. And part of the cleaning out of the tubs was like, not all of the tubs were full. I had them in categories. So like a half full tub of Christmas, half full tub of fall, emptying both of them. I got two tubs that are clear and ready to add more stuff to. Actually, I'm going to use them, I think, for like my basement organization. So anyway, hey, good morning, Mary. So I've got the candle going. I'm going to put you guys on the table. Gannon and I are heading to, he has an orthodontist appointment today. So it's a 90-mile drive. So I got to remember to call that kid out from school too. I got to call the school and say, Gannon's meeting me at home to go to the orthodontist. Good morning, Denise. Hey, Rita. Did you guys see me cooking steak this morning? Did you see all that? Yeah, cooking steak this morning. It's so interesting. This is life of a wrestling mom is the hashtag I used. Wrestling mom. So my son wrestles and he is very fitness conscious, nutrition conscious, eating to fuel his body for what he's doing. And he needs iron. We discovered yesterday because he kind of tipped over at they had a really extremely hard practice and he was like, ooh, he got kind of dizzy. And so we were like, okay, we think he needs more iron in his diet because he doesn't eat a lot of red meat. So this morning he was like, Mom, can you make me up a steak? I'm like, sure. Sure. So he had steak and eggs this morning. Dang. That feels like, to me, that would be such a heavy breakfast. I don't usually eat breakfast, but that's what he wanted. That's what he needed. So let's all say a prayer that it like fuels his body appropriately. This kid is doing this all on his own in terms of the nutrition, and he does a lot of research, but it's hard for an 18-year-old, I think, to know what he's supposed to do. Thanks, Denise. Thanks for saying that. All right, let me get you big on the screen on the table. Let's remove this one. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm going to show you, let's try not to burn the house down. Uh-oh. Oh gosh. Okay, I think you can hear me again. I lost volume there for a second. Let's try not to burn the house down is what I said. And move that candle just a tish. Okay, what I have going on here. This is that one book that I started with Facebook subscribers. It's All True Clinic sends like a little, I think it's quarterly magazine to us. And it's like beautiful, thick paper. And I said to the girls, I can't just waste it. So I used my telephone book collaged pages and some coffee stained paper to do an every other half sheet. So, full sheets, half sheet. So every other page is a half sheet just to break up the collage a little bit. I think this is going to turn out into a great, great book. I left, of course, this little insert envelope that was in there. I did sew. So there's threading in the middle because I did sew it. It had 2 staples like a normal junk mail magazine would or catalog. So to reinforce everything, since I added all this bulk, there's a lot of extra stuff in here. Since I added all this bulk to it, I went ahead and added some sewing, so sewed it into place so that it wouldn't. I'm going to lift you up a little higher because the camera's a little close to my hands here, so that it wouldn't fall apart. So that's what that is, and I'm kind of excited to get into that. However, today we're going to gratitude journal. So I'm going to show you what I got going on here. Something funky with there's something funky with technology today. Again, it's okay. Here, I think I can see the comments. Leslie says, I have a big mess around me because I'm bringing most of it out in order to organize. But then what I thought an allergy attack took a turn for the worse. Later, it was so bad that it ended in the ER. Oh no, Leslie, my cough was hard and was cutting off my airway. Turns out I have COVID. Oh my goodness, Leslie. Oh, she's home today. She says, it's okay. I get to watch you live. Oh my gosh, Leslie, darling, I'm so sorry. Well, listen, in a way, let's be thankful to God. It's a gratitude journaling. And this is why, okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. I had a very stressful day yesterday. And my husband was like, oh, I said, but listen, I always keep it in perspective by reminding myself that there are people we even know closely who are dealing with so much more heavy stuff than my stressful day because of decluttering. I mean, there was other stuff added to that, like, the kids and bills and just, the stuff stacks up in your brain. um, but I always try to bring it back. So Leslie, bring it back. Like, maybe it's a good thing you pulled everything out and it got you to coffin, because that caused you to go in, and now you know what you have, and you know that you need to really rest and restore. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Good morning, Lori. Hey, Christina. Thanks for saying hello, you guys. Oh, and look at Denise, you guys. She's sending prayers to Miss Leslie. You guys are the best. You are the BEST. Best. Okay. So, A Course in Weight Loss. I bought this a long time ago, you guys. 21 Spiritual Lessons. Okay, this is not why we're here. We're here for the gratitude journal, which I'll show you in a minute. What I did with this book that I intend to like remake into something, because I'm no longer reading it, needing it. No, not that I don't need to lose weight. It's just that I'm beyond trying to spiritually deal with it. I got to just count my carbs, girls. What I did was I took some leaves from outside in my yard and plopped them in there I don't have a press to squish them down. The gratitude journal, this is the journal that we created in the Craft Therapy Club this month. I showed everybody how to create a journal from a hardcover book, and I made printables for the ladies to use. So it was like 15 pages of double-sided decorative paper called Grunge and Lace. Like, here's a sneak peek at some of it. I designed all of these pages, and I have to say, personally, I'm truly in love with these pages. I was so stoked and so excited to be creating this for myself. But then when I decided, you know what, I've got to share this with the Craft Therapy Chicks. The Craft Therapy Chicks, so all the members in the Craft Therapy Club got this printable for free. You can purchase it if you'd like to in my shop in the printable section, the download section. It's $5. It's like 15 pages long. And once you own it, once you have it, you can print it out as many times as you want and use them to make anything that you want. But I just wanted to give you a sneak peek at what all these pages look like. They're highly distressed and a bit grungy, but still feminine. I chose very soft colors, and I chose very neutral colors so that they could be used in any book, anywhere, like any theme type of book. So I wanted it to be a fall botanical journal. And so you'll see a lot of botanicals, like dried flowers, kind of printed into the digital kit. So if you are a Craft Therapy Club member, you get this whole kit for free. But anybody who's not a member, you can go purchase it if you'd like to. So these are the pages that I designed. I'm so excited about them, you guys. And what we did is we created a hardcover gratitude journal. Now, that's how I'm using mine, but I told the ladies, you can use it for whatever you want. You can gift it to somebody. You don't have to use it as a gratitude journal, but I'm using it as a gratitude journal. And added to my kit, like this wasn't in my kit. The envelope is just like a dyed envelope that I also stenciled. So we added, like, this is a paper bag. This is the bag that when people order napkins from my site, I put them in a decorative bag always so that you have something to put into your junk journals. It's like really fun to have that. So I added to the kit. This is a kit page. This is just coffee stained paper that I coffee stained myself. And I went through the whole process of all of it, creating this, and we're still working on it. So I gratitude journaled in it twice now in the group, and I've chosen to use a gold, metallic gold pen in the pages to journal. And we talked about a lot about, well, how many of you actually journal daily? Like, does anybody out there actually do a written journal? I used to do it when I was in graduate school. I did it daily. I've had periods in my life when I've done it daily. That is no longer a part of my life. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you can go through periods of time where you like to journal and then sometimes you don't. But I've started this because I wanted to do specifically focused on all the things that we should be grateful for. Because if we don't do that, if we don't make it a practice to remember the things that are good, we tend to focus on the things that are bad. We can get into this rut of like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas and the bills. I am stressed about bills. I'm not gonna lie. It's Christmas and we got bills coming up. Plus, I had my dental work. There's just been a boatload of things. Both the boys get their teeth cleaned. I have this orthodontist appointment. We just have so many things going on. Okay, but I choose, and you can choose instead, once a day, light a candle, get your favorite beverage, and it doesn't even have to be in a decorative journal, but just to write down the things that you can be grateful for. You know, your pet that brings you so much joy, that really sweet neighbor next door who always waves and, you know, shovels the walk when it's not necessary and you didn't ask. Like, those are the kinds of things that we should always focus on being grateful for. So gratitude journal, I think, is a really good idea. Janet says she's been journaling for years. That's awesome. Yes, Denise, this is great. Thanks for ERs, right? Thanks be to God that we live in a country where we can get to an ER, because not everybody has that. Not everybody in the world has that ability to get to the hospital and get treated. You guys are talking puppies and I love that you guys are chatting. Hey Amanda, how are you? Good morning. So my gratitude journal, this is what we just completed. The actual book itself completed. So in the group for 3 Sundays in December, I'm going to be just journaling, gratitude journaling in this book, and continuing to decorate the pages, because I've left my pages very bare so that as I'm journaling, I can add things to them. Like when I did this journal entry, I added the rice paper and the leaf. And then I jumped back here for yesterday's journal page. Oh, this was the thing. We talked about, do we need to go in order? We talked about this in the group. And I shared a lot of personal, like my own obstacles or barriers to just using your books freely, and that I'm trying to challenge myself to do it differently. Oh my gosh, where's yesterday's entry, girls? Here it is. Here's yesterday's entry, and I added, this was one of the printables the girls got for free. I did like a coffee, I did one Christmas winter set, and I did, another set that was just kind of like books and botanicals, coffee and tea. So I think I'm just going to jump onto a page. I'm going to pick one of these printables and put it in here. Like, I really like this one. I'm feeling like I want to use that one today. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to add a journal entry. That's a little personal too, right? It really is my journal entry. So I said to the ladies in the Craft Therapy Club, it's a little, it's very vulnerable. You're sharing thoughts and emotions, feelings, like where I am today with the public. Well, not in the private group, but right now I am. But I'll share to you what I write in my book, just so you can see it like this. So many of you ask, I see in the comments, especially people who are new to junk journaling. Okay, like, that's so cool what you're doing, but what do you do with these books when you're done? This is one way that you can use these journals. If you like to do a written journal, you can make it a hybrid combination of decorative journaling and actual written journaling, prayer journaling, whatever kind of journaling you like to do. Okay. I think I'm going to play with this a little bit more. I'm going to do some more to it. I'm going to take a little bit more. I'm just dipping this big round brush into water and then running it along the paper. And you can't see it right away, but after a couple of seconds, you'll see the paper starts to get soft and it ripples a little, and that's the water being absorbed into it, and it just makes it easier to rip. So yes, this is just plain printer paper. You see me do this often with napkins and rice paper, but you can do it with just regular old paper too. So I'm going to rip a little more, but I think I'm going to color this a little more because this is so white and my page has lots of very soft colors on it, and the white would be so stark next to that. So I think I'm going to grab my inking tools and do a little inking on here. We could watercolor it. Should we watercolor? Ooh, I have an idea. Maybe what I'll do instead, I haven't played with my watercolors in a long time. And the colors, on all of these pages are fairly muted and soft. I did that very much on purpose so that you could use those pages for a lifetime. And when you own them for personal use, and you can print them and use them anytime you want. Thanks, Denise. So how many of you were there yesterday? As I'm going to pull out some supplies and work on this. How many of you were there yesterday for the clear the clutter? So first, were you there? And second, what did you think? Were you there? What did you think? I'm just grabbing a little mat. It's very messy on one side, but that's all right. We'll use the other side. It's not so bad. I don't clean mine often enough. You can just, they're you can wipe them clean very easily. I just don't do it often enough. So mine always look a mess. I keep one mat that I'll never use with paints and glues, and I use that for my ironing so that it always stays really clean, because these are heat. You can use them as a like a heat press mat. So instead of using parchment paper on your decoupage glue projects where you're using the iron-on method, you can use these mats. So I like to keep one free from ever having paint or glue on it, so that I don't muck it up. I have just a little bit of this clear gesso left. I'm going to gesso this up. Maybe I want to put it on watercolor paper too. Let's first gesso it up. I'm just giving it a coat so that, see, if I want to use my watercolors, plain printer paper is not going to work well with watercolors. So we put a coat of gesso on it, and it will put like a protective barrier over the ink and the paper, so that hopefully the goal is that your watercolors will spread real nicely on there, and they won't muck up the little print that I have of the book and the teacup. It's like little sugar cubes. It's really cute, you guys. I have a little botanical on the left, the book stack in the middle. I added, because this is me, the little teacup with a little heart on the tag, which is darling. Sugar cubes, a little spoon. I always have a dirty spoon next to the coffee pot because I put just a little bit of agave in my coffee. So I usually have just like, the dirty spoon. That's what that is. That's my little dirty spoon. Denise says she loves the decluttering. Everybody had such great ideas. Oh my gosh. And you missed it, Kimberly. The girls, I was saying, like, Dina got through a lot. Kathy got through a ton. Terry actually got through a ton. We all had a really productive time of it, which was awesome. I felt so good about that. I bought a bunch of those mats for me and my daughter-in-law to be. Christine, they're awesome. I love using them. Wendy says, I loved watching all the girls yesterday. It motivated me and gave me some great ideas for doing the same. Thanks for letting us in to your crafty areas. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was a bit much, for my little head and heart to take, to let everybody in on all that. But my cutting net fell. We all committed to doing it together. So that was like, okay, girls. Chris was like, I got to do this decluttering. Anybody want to do it with me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, yeah, we all resoundingly said yes, we all could use a little decluttering. So she's like, well, let's make it an event. And I've never seen a decluttering event, clear the clutter event. Have you? Have you ever seen any other creatives, artists clearing clutter? It's part of the life of a creative, is gathering all the stuff is so much part of our life. We gather so many things. Like the watercolor, let's just talk watercolor paints. Okay. I like using watercolor paints. I don't use them very often. I'm just checking to see. It might need a little more time, but I'm going to pull out some of my watercolors while we're letting that dry. So I have collected, this is how it goes. This just is a really good example. This is watercolor category. Let's just see. I haven't opened this drawer in a long time because I don't use them very often. I do love working with them. I just don't do it very often. Here's another one of these. Oh, this one's called Mineral Marvels. Maybe that's the one we need to use. Okay, girls, I'm not done. I don't have room on the table. I will say too, I have many other watercolor brushes that they just weren't in that drawer. I have another drawer with just brushes. So this one just happens to be with I made sense to put the watercolor brushes with the watercolors. So then there are these. Have you ever seen these? These are watercolor paints and they come on a card. It's a great way to get a really big collection in like, it's not very bulky, you know, like compared to this bulk. And if you don't watercolor a lot, you may not need the big pans. You may suffice to just buy the dots. Here's another dot. Jane Davenport sells them. Her dots are a lot bigger, you can see, than the ones that Daniel Smith gives you, but you can see where I've played with them before. The color just spreads, like it's on a nice thick watercolor paper. And you can buy them like this. These are all dots of color. So if you don't use them that often, and if you're using them, like if you're a stamper, okay. Oh my God, this gets me so excited, you guys. Hold on. You got to see my face because it gets me so excited. Like I get so happy talking about this stuff. If you are not a watercolor artist, if you're not doing full canvases of watercolor, you may not need these big sets of watercolors. You may be able to get away with one of these fabulous, this is like a variety pack, right? And this one's themed. It's called Mineral Marvels, 36 unique mineral watercolor dots from nature's palette to yours. So they're all very warm colors, right? Just like my gratitude journal. I have actually a little bit of warm and cool in mine, but look how many you get, right? If you are a person who just uses your watercolors like I am today, just to enhance something, or if you're like a lot of people who stamp, they love to stamp, will fill in the stamp designs with watercolor instead of using a crayon, or you can't really use an acrylic paint on a small stamped design. Watercolors are great for that. You don't need a lot of watercolor for that, but if you want a huge variety of colors, these little packs are flipping awesome for that. I just discovered them like a year ago, but you see what happens? I like watercolor paints, so when I see like, oh wow, neons, yes, I want neons. Oh, these are shimmers. I absolutely love the shimmers. These are in my Amazon store. I love them. These are also these are shimmers. These are metallic, so they are very different. These are metallic. They're way more bold. These are another watercolor, but these are like different, or confetti dot, but it's just a different color scheme. These, I wanted to try Jane Davenport's, and actually, truthfully, it's like, looks like a little makeup case. This is my least favorite watercolor that I own. I've tried to use them several times and I just don't love them. Sorry, Jane. I think she's fabulous. I just don't love her watercolors. And this, I don't even remember. I think my sister gave this to me a long time ago. I hardly ever use that. The colors, I don't love the colors of it. Okay, those are those things. And then, of course, I have my watercolor pencils, my ink tanks, and I have 2 sets of these because I bought the small set to try them. And then I was like, heck yes, I stinking love these things. So I bought the big, and it's not even the biggest set. I bought a bigger set. And then I have gouache. Do you know what gouache is? It's like a combination of acrylic and watercolor. And I was like, I gotta try gouache paints. So I bought a set of gouache paints. And this is how crafters end up with so much stuff, right? It's how we do it to ourselves. Look, see? Here's the little. I was like, yeah, I want to try these. And then I was like, heck, I like these. So I bought the big. Yep. It's what we do. Okay. So let's put a little color. I wanted to stress this, and I could use an ink pad, but let's try the watercolors just for fun, because we're relaxing and crafting, and this is my like craft therapy time and journaling time. I'm just sharing it with you so you can see one way that you can use all these junk journals and books that we're making. Put what in the mystery box? Yes, Debbie, behind the scenes, I am still clearing the clutter. I've got 8 boxes going out today from people who ordered boxes. So thank you to everybody who ordered boxes. They're big boxes, you guys. They're 15 by 15 by 4. And I was able to fit a lot of them. Most of the boxes weigh 5 pounds or more. So there's a lot of stuff in those boxes. So thank you to everybody who ordered. Hey, Anne, how are you? Denise says, all of us crafters have an area that need attention. Ain't that the truth? Okay, that is truly dry. What do I want to use today? I don't want neons. I don't want the metallics. I don't want this, and I don't want that. All right, we've narrowed it down. I know I'm not using any of those. I don't want the blues. They're very like mermaid colors, and I love them, but no, I don't want blues. These, what color do I want on here? Maybe like an amber yellow or brown. I think it's going to have to come from this set. It's very hard, I will say, probably for you on screen to see. I'm going to try to get this closer. It's not visible on camera, but I can see this is like a rusty brown, a little more red. This one's a little more brown and then darker brown. So it's like if you go around with your paintbrush, like we take that same wet paintbrush I just had a minute ago, and we touch on these and we just let them, if we spread them, it'll give me a better idea on each of these. Oh, let me get a paper towel. It'll give me a better idea on each of these, like what the color that lies within. So as I've been using them, I have been just doing this so that when I quickly look at these buttons, that makes it easier to see what the colors actually are. Can you see the difference between them? So because I'm not sure what color I want on my little, where's my little sheet here? I don't want green. I don't want blue. I want something like a orange or amber, like something in here, something in this family. Maybe even lighter. It might be this bronzite. It's called bronzite. Or maybe I go to a whole new set and look for something. This one's called geothite. This one's called titanium. That one's probably too light. I just want to add a little more color. It might be this one. If I'm spreading that, see how it's just going to add some distressing? Let's try it. I'll start around the edges. And then I quickly went right in on the whole project. I just want to make it look a little more distressed or tea-dyed kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. And it's funny because when you are spreading color on a torn piece of paper, I'll hold this up and show you. You just keep playing with the brush, spreading it until you get the coverage that you're looking for and the markings that you want. I am going for distressed. So I need the color to dampen down the pure white paper. But when you go around and you hit the torn edges, those torn edges grab the color really strongly. So it looks like I took a distress ink pad and distressed the edges, but it's just that the watercolor paint, it just really sits in that torn paper. It like sucks into the paper even better on the torn edges. I almost stuck my paintbrush in my candle. That one would be good. I'm going to grab a little more color and I'm going to spread. And I'm just trying to muck it up so it's not so darn white. That's my only goal. And I'm using a color called bronzite. I like using watercolors. I don't need to hit the project. It's like the graphic itself. I'm just looking to soften up the white. I could have used an ink pad, girls. We could have blended some ink on here with my blender, but I really love playing with watercolors, and this is like my craft therapy time and my journaling time. So it's not about being fast or efficient or easy. It's about playing with supplies and enjoying the candle and my coffee and your company, and not rushing it or feeling like I have to be it's not about being super efficient. It's not about that. It probably would have been easier to use an ink pad, but I don't want to use an ink pad. I wanted to play with my watercolors. So I'm having fun with it. That is the whole point of craft therapy, is to enjoy yourself, relax, just take a breather from all the stress of life and enjoy your supplies that you have. I also do think, like, if there's a set, you guys, I never use this set of watercolor. I never use it. In fact, I never use it. I don't like it. I'm either gonna throw it out or I'm gonna send it to well, the paints are fine. They're old and cracked, but they're still fine in there. I think I'm just gonna send this to the thrift store. I'll donate it. So it's probably a really good idea as you go through your stuff and you're using it and you pull it all out. If there is something that you don't use, just get rid of it. It would be a really good way to just kind of release all the clutter, release all that. It helps. Actually, it's so weird because when you're clearing the clutter, it also helps you like clear the clutter in your head, and it like lifts. It's like a weight lifted off your shoulders. Those of you who have been clearing clutter, who have been able to do that since we've been talking about this, doesn't it feel good? Like, I did it. It was a pain in the rear to do it. I made a mess in my living room for a little while, but now it feels so good to get that stuff out of my house. So don't forget to do that in your craft space. I am having fun. Exactly, Kim. This is our relaxed time. So you don't have to be super efficient. It doesn't have to make sense. It is about playing with your stuff and just enjoying it. Mary says, I bought the Inktense pencils last year after you demoed them, and the shimmer watercolors as well. The shimmer, I love the shimmers. In fact, should we put a little shimmer? Maybe we'll add a little shimmer. I already mucked this up. It's kind of browned up, and it definitely doesn't look like a pure white piece of paper anymore, which is what I was going for. But let's add a little shimmer. Maybe I could even add shimmer to my page. Oh, good, Cindy. She said, that's just what I needed to hear. It's so true. We just need to remind ourselves. That's what the good part about being in a craft community. And so I'm so glad you guys are part of this community. Is sometimes we just need to remind ourselves and give each other permission to do these things. Kim, the boxes are $30 and Craft Therapy Club members get a discount. So if you're in the Craft Therapy Club, all you members, make sure you use your discount code. Nancy says, clearing the clutter is one thing, but organizing is something I was born without. Okay, so same thing here, Nancy. I wish I was good at organizing, but I am not. I really am not. But if you have fewer supplies, there's less to organize. You're using your space more simply. It just simplifies your space, which makes it easier. I think organization for so many of us is so difficult because we have an excess of things. In truth, the majority of the craft stuff that I own, I don't use on a regular basis. I have a lot of glitter mediums and texture mediums. I use them sometimes, but not often. I use my glues all the time, so that my scissors I use all the time. There's probably about a dozen things that I use daily. Then all the other stuff just sits there for maybe someday I'll use it, right? So if you are overwhelmed with the amount of stuff, it may be a really good time to even let go. Like, what if you said, I'm going to go in my craft room every day for the month of December and get rid of one thing? Donate. I don't mean just throw it out. If it's a perfectly good thing, don't throw it out, please. Somebody can use it. Somebody at the thrift store is so happy, like some mama who finds a watercolor set for her daughter, but is really tight on funds, and her daughter loves art. She can't afford to spend $15 for it in Amazon, but it's $4 at the thrift store because it's partially used. I tell you what, that is going to make some mom and some daughter so happy that they got their hands on a shimmer set of that you aren't even using. So please don't just throw it out. Please find a thrift store to donate it to. And somebody brought up a really good point yesterday. Those stores, almost always, they are nonprofit. Almost all of them. I think I've only ever seen one that was not. And I'm a huge thrift store fan. Almost all of them benefit. It's a nonprofit. Like, so it's like for a women's shelter, like our local one is for our school, our Catholic school. We have a thrift store for the Catholic school. So you're supporting the Catholic church and school when you shop there. It always goes toward something. So it's like a double benefit. You're benefiting the person who can use your gently used things, and you're benefiting the organization that is helping other people in your community. So it's a really good way to support your community and people in general. Kim said, my husband will call home from work at lunchtime, and if I'm crafting, he'll ask me, what am I doing? And I say, I'm playing with my toys. Let's play with our toys. Let's see if we can get a little shimmer. I'm gonna put the Daniel Smith away. If you have a chance to grab these. Now, I really like that they're just little buttons because I don't do a whole lot of watercolor. I actually wish I had found these right away when I wanted to start using watercolors. I don't know how new these are, but I just discovered them last year, these little buttons. I think they're fabulous. These were rather expensive. I will admit, I felt like these were expensive, but you're paying for the convenience of, like, it's just so small and compact. This would be a great travel companion too, to put in a little zippered pouch with your watercolor brush. I always put a rag, and you can get fresh water wherever you are, so that's not an issue, but a rag for my brush and for cleanup. And I usually bring a gel pen because if I'm journaling, I like to have my gel pen. So you don't need a whole lot if you're traveling and you still want to create when you travel. Whenever I go on vacation, like, I like to bring a journal with me that I can play in with my watercolor pencils or watercolor paints. So these are fabulous because it's so much smaller than this, right? They are a little expensive. You're paying for the convenience. I did find on one site, it was one of the art, I'm trying to think of what site it was. I don't remember. It was one of the art supply sites. They had, this was like a special offer. It was like $5 for a sampler as opposed to buying a whole huge few set. And I just snatched it up because it was like, oh, I'll grab that. I don't remember the price, but it was a lot less than this whole full set. So anyway, enough about that. Let's see if we can add some shimmer. I'm going to grab a piece of watercolor, just a little one. I have, like, whenever I use watercolor paper and I have scraps, I save it for this because I want to see on like a separate piece of paper, like, what color shimmer do I want to use? Maybe just like this one. I'm really liking the look of this. It's kind of pinkish tan. I'm really bad at color names. Maybe, and that it's about the same color, but it's going to add some shimmer. When it dries, it's shimmery. That's the beauty of it. Do I want to go even darker? Do I want to go darker, girls? I wonder, this looks like it's gray. Rinse the brush. Grab, this looks silvery gray. I don't think this is the right color, but let's just, yeah, it's too charcoaly. Like it's too much. You like my terms? Okay, we'll go with the shimmery. It's almost like a, I don't know. Feels like a peachy pink. All right, the more you rub your brush into that thing, the more color you're going to pick up. See the difference? It's the same pan. I did very little the first time and I did a whole lot the second time. You see the difference in opaqueness? So you have a lot of control. It just takes some practice. That's why I have these little pieces of paper sitting around. I don't throw them out. I just keep them right here behind me so that when I'm like, okay, I haven't used watercolors in a long time. I haven't used this color in a long time. What color am I going for? I don't even have to go back into my pan because I have enough of the color here on this piece of paper that when I retouch it again with water, it's going to start moving that color around again. Let me get you guys bigger on this table. it'll move that color around and I can just transfer it onto the project. So I'm going to pick up, I don't want the color that I leave on my project to be this dark, but I can pick up, grab some water, too much, and just pick up that color and transfer it here. And it's just going to add a bit of glorious shimmer. So you have to be careful. Now, this is paper. And even though it's thick paper, every time I come in and I apply pressure and I'm rubbing, it's eventually going to, paper pulp is going to break down and it's going to start beading on you and stuff. So, you know, don't let that happen, you know, get beads of paper into your brush. That could happen. It just, this is why play is so good. And a journal, a junk journal even, is a great place to just play with your supplies. You don't have to have a decorated junk journal. I have several mixed media journals that I will just play with my supplies and practice. And I love to take notes in that journal. So if it's a particular, like if I'm working with a particular thing, like my Inktense pencils, I can write down what I did to achieve the colors in that book. And then I can refer to it if I want to. I think it's enough color. And so I'm going to just dry it so we can put it in the journal. A lot of attention to this one little slip of decorative element for my journal. It's not about that. Like I said, this is not about being efficient. This craft relax time, it is not about being super efficient. Listen, Linda. What's not that phrase? Linda, listen. We are so efficient in so many other places in our lives with the groceries and the cooking and the laundry and like housewife. You're a housewife. This is a housewife's world. With paying the bills and managing our budgets and our time. Like I only have 2 hours, but I have to get all these errands done. We are so efficient in our life trying to fit everything in. When you come to your craft space and your craft table, please, I encourage you to just let it go. Don't put any pressure on yourself to be super efficient. Just enjoy your stuff and play with it. And the more you use your supplies, the better you'll get to know them. And that's not, I mean, I know it sounds like funny, and they're not people, but you will get to know their features and benefits and their limitations. You'll get to know all that the more you use your stuff. But you have to actually sit down and allow yourself time to play with your stuff. Time, like Kim says, time to play with your toys. That's how you'll learn how to use them efficiently, is when you just spend some time with them and get to know them a little bit. Okay. I'm going to put this somewhere in this book. This is going to be with my journal entry today. And I was thinking this page, but now I don't know. I'm going to flip through. I'm super visual. Have to see it to know it. So let me get you big on the table so you have a little more view of the project. And what I'm going to do, I'm trying to clear the clutter a little bit so that you guys, this one glue won't fit in my little bucket there. Okay. This little mass of crap is, I've been doing oh, that's a paper towel. I've been doing a lot of junk journaling lately. So I have this all these fabrics just sitting here because I've been reaching for them a lot lately. And so rather than putting them in a bin across the room, I've just been keeping them on the edge of my table for convenience sake. This is all coffee stained, as you can see. Like that would be cute on here. It would add like a big, nice element on this. And this, most of the papers in the kit, the Grunge and Lace kit that I created, most of the pages are soft enough in color that you will easily be able to write on them and be able to see it easily. See, they're very soft, but some of them are darker. Like this one's dark. That's why a metallic pen is great, because I'll still be able to see the words. And truthfully, for me personally, I would rather write my thoughts and feelings. It feels more private and discreet to have it written subtly on the page, because for me, the writing is a process as a part of the relaxation. But my end goal is to have a really pretty book when I'm done. I actually want the book to be really pretty. That brings my heart so much joy. Just the process of making the pretty book brings me so much joy that I don't want to lose the prettiness of the book with by the writing becoming the focal point. I would rather have the writing be more subtle on the page, and it does feel actually a little more private, like it's not screaming out at you. Here's Grace's journal entry for the day. It's just kind of sitting there as part of the decoration of the page, if that makes any sense at all. I mean, I don't know, does that make any sense at all to you? I hope so. It's just the way my mind works with this. Now, that's just adding such a pretty little decorative element. I think I will add some fabric to this page. I haven't been building anything into this. It's mainly paper right now. So I will probably do a little fabric collage over here. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to do a journal entry. But let me look through. Let's glue or sew or... You guys, I'm going to blow the candle out because I'm going to be this bits and bobs basket. There's going to be fabric pieces and things flying, and I don't want to light anything on fire. So as much as I love my little candle, let's cover that little beauty up so that I have more room for the bits and bobs. Okay, this little basket, just, it's all this little extra pieces of things. Although this is like one of my favorite colors in the world, I don't want anything super bright in here. So I'm looking for like neutrals. Like there's a really pretty little neutral piece of lace. That could be pretty on there. Just, I don't know. I'm just going to search until I find things that make sense to me or make me happy. This was on something and I don't know where or why I have it, but that could be cute on there. I don't know where it came from. It was on something that I bought apparently. I'm not kidding you guys. Bits and bobs. I love using gum wrappers. I chew a lot of gum, you guys, like all day long. I'm like addicted to gum. It's so bad. And I love the metallic, and I love the foil, thin foil paper so sometimes I save those wrappers in here to use. Okay, I'll just tell you really quick. This is just a funny Grace thing. So I had this dental work done. I had to have a crown, and the tooth right next to it had to have a big filling, like redone. The filling was already there, and the dentist was like, this is really old, and you probably cracked, because I think I cracked a tooth between those two, and he's like, you really need a new crown, and this, I think that maybe we need to refill this. So two at the same time. The crown, they put on a temporary crown for the next 3 weeks, and then when the real one comes in, they're going to put the real one in. And I said to my husband last night, like, how am I going to go 3 weeks without chewing gum? They were like, don't eat anything sticky, or because you don't want to pull that temporary crown off. I'm like, how am I going to go for 3 weeks without a piece of gum? It's like it's hurting my heart. Hey there, Clutter Sister. Chris, we were just talking about that again. Just encouraging all the ladies to just dive in. And here's more gum wrappers. You guys, gum is my life. It's my one. I love it. I love my gum. And I chew more and more as I get older. Maybe that's how I cracked my tooth. These things are all much too big. I'm kind of looking for just like little bits. I may have enough of little bits now to just put a little textured cluster in this corner. I love when I can crinkle things, In fact, maybe I'll just do the lace and the tag and leave out the little gold fabric. To crinkle, quick tip, really good glue stick, lots of it. And then I have this little piece of lace that can lay flat if you want it to. But I crinkle it. So I'm going to lay a piece down, and then as I'm putting it down, it's almost like you're working with your sewing machine and you're ruffling, except I just call it crinkling. And the glue stick, if you have a good one, it'll hold it down in a ruffly little mess. In fact, it would be kind of cool to make this a tab for this page, which means like something that I can grab onto to flip the page. Oh, it does need one more little thing. And I'm going to leave this, I'm going to put this here, but maybe one more little piece of fabric. And let's go with something a little darker. There's my Boston accent coming out. A little darker. Let's use something darker than that. It's kind of got a fall. Oh, this one has little chicken feet on it. They're like little chicken feet walking down the strip of fabric. This would be cute. let's make it super distressed. I don't know how much I need. I love using fabric in my journals, you guys. So Chris, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? She says, I might have lit my project on fire in a group recently. Chris, it happened. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm a little bit afraid of. So I have this little fabric. I want it to be super grungy, right? So like, I love these frays. I mean, I'm not going to let it sit that long, but I keep the frayed edges because I really like them. And if you want to create more, I have this little frayer. That's what this is, a distressor. You could use your scissors probably for this, or sometimes if you just pick at it, you're going to be taking out strands of thread, and it makes it even more, like, if you don't have that little tool, just take your nail, put it in the side here, and like pull at it, and it's going to take out the strands of thread that go this way, which is going to make those edges even more ratty looking. I love me some ratty fabric. Okay, so what if we did this? If we have like the chicken feet and the lace, and we're going to put them together. This needs to be more prominent though. Maybe I won't crinkle it. I'll just lay it flat so that we can see more of it. That's what I'd like to do. Like this. Lace, chicken feet, and a tag. It makes no sense, but I love it. It makes no sense, but I love it. I'm going to use some fabric glue. I'm going to put a bunch of it here because the fabric and then the tag are going to go on top of it. But I'm going to stick this down so that when I put this on, you can see both. You know, it's about seeing it. And I am going to try to crinkle it a little because I just can't even help myself. Girls, I'm a crinkle queen. Love me some crinkling. I should have grabbed some of that gold. It doesn't work as well with this liquid glue. It works so much better with a glue stick, to be truthful with you. Because the glue stick is super sticky. The liquid glue is more like a liquid. So it doesn't have much grab right away for that crinkle. All right, there. I'm happy with that. I am going to glue this down. I can use this again. I need a lot of it. And well, we didn't need it on the end because I want a little bit of the end hanging off the edge of the paper. Go away, you. I know if you're watching this and you're not a junk journaler, you're probably like, okay, first of all, what is with these little bits? I love my bits and bobs. I love little extra bits of things and finding pretty ways to use them in my books. It just brings my heart happiness. It's the junk journaler in me. Beyond that, I think I need some glue under this side. Beyond that, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, it came right through the little hole. I think it's a bit challenging to find ways to decorate your pages with things that you already have laying around. But I do get a lot of joy. Like you have a little tag. Maybe it was on something I bought at a boutique or an antique shop or something. I don't know. I don't know where I got it. There's somewhere. Maybe I got it at the local, this farmer's market. Maybe I bought something there and this tag was on it, but I wasn't going to throw it away. It's perfect. I like the contrast of a staple in there. I have purple staples in here. I'm doing it. I'm doing a purple staple and I don't want it to look too perfect, so I'm going to kind of do it wonky. There is a bit of purple in the pages. It's like a pinkish purple that I built into some of these pages in the kit. See, the distressing there is purple because I wanted to have a little bit of soft color. So the purple staple, that's great. Oh, guys, I forgot. Yesterday in the Craft Therapy Club, when I did the other page that's way back here, we were talking about the fact that my linear brain, my like technical writing brain, when I journal, I have to really practice not using punctuation, not worrying about capitalization or English grammar. It's a journal. If those things hold you down or hold you back or are heavy for you, then don't do it. And so for me, I have to really practice being not so technical and linear. I was a business writing minor in college, so very technical writing. but I want my books to be real creative and pretty. And we were talking about when you journal, do they have to be in chronological order? Like, here's November 24th. I did one yesterday, it was November 29th. And my linear brain wants to do it on the very next page. How do you guys feel about that? Like, would you do 24th, 25th, maybe you wait until the 29th to journal again, and then you have December 1st and then December 2nd, or are you going to jump back and forth? Because yesterday I went way in the back. I'm like, it goes against every grain in my being. I can't find it, you guys. It's hiding back here somewhere. I did a journal entry in the Craft Therapy Club, not on the second page. Here it is. I did it like over here. Here's November 29th, my journal entry. Because this is what I wasn't even thinking. Here it is, this very next page. I didn't even skip a page. I went just to the very next page and used it. So I have to practice being less linear to like release that stress for myself and release that, really release the obligation of being organized. Our craft places, our journals can be anything. They don't have to have rules to them. I'm a rule follower, and I was trained technical writer. So this is really hard for me, as you can see. I went immediately, subconsciously, to the next page, even though I decided I was going to jump around. Darn it. Darn it. That's why we call it a practice. It's a practice. We get a practice. The teal ribbon cut down at the top would be good balance for your teacup. Oh, Nancy, I like that idea. Oh, Benita has a new crown. No stickies. No stickies until we get them fixed. Finally done. Rula says, I can finally walk into my closet. Just FYI, I was up very late, found some cool stuff. That's the other thing. When we go through these bins that we haven't looked at in a long time, we do find cool stuff like, oh, I forgot that I grabbed this and I was going to do something with this. Yes. Good for you. Let's see. I'm looking for more comments to comment on. Chris says she's feeling motivated. I want to be my mystery boxes. Addie won't let me. She won't let you put mystery boxes together? What? Wait, buy? Do you mean buy mystery boxes? Oh, Denise, we love you too, darling. We love you too. Bonita is saying, Chris, we're so proud of you. Proud of the room. Yes, keep going, Chris. We are going to keep encouraging you. Carol says, I like unusual things in my book. I do too. I love things that like have all the senses. That's why I made the glitter cinnamon the other day, and we put that in that journal. I have this little bit of glitter cinnamon waiting to be used. Oh, it's so good. It smells really good. I like my books to have touch, feel, sound, smell. Sound would come from the crinkly pages. A tissue paper especially gives crinkle. That is a much different sound than a cardstock is going to give. I love all that. I love it. I love it. Yes, Carol says, I'm trying really hard to get away from the perfection side of things. Well, you just keep hanging out with me here, because I'm going to continuously remind not only you, but me too, to let go of those, those binds that we put on ourselves, those obligations to be centered or be matching or be technical, to be technically accurate, to spell it right, whatever the thing is for you that's a stickler. I will continue to remind us to just let it go. Kim just got happy mail from me. Happy, joy, joy. Enjoy it. It's so fun to get something in the mailbox that's not a bill, right, Kim? Chris said she's excited about some of the things that she found yesterday. Awesome. My son used my stapler and had a small stroke when he saw that it was purple. I want to find more colors. Christina. So if you have like a place where I can buy more colors than what I have. Chris likes the glitter cinnamon idea. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Oh, it's so glittery. It smells good. And I applied it in that book. It's right here. I put it on the front pocket. No, not this book. Oh, girls, I don't know. One of the books over here. I got a lot of books going. Was it the Christmas book? Come here, Santa. Yes, it was the Christmas book. Yes, of course, the Christmas book. And we have a little gingerbread here. So we got to have just a little bit of shimmery cinnamon glued down on the pocket. And actually, the cinnamon and the glitter has kind of like spread over here, which I love because it made this page a little bit shimmery. I don't know if you can see it. It's very, very fine. It wasn't glitter. It actually was, what was it called, ladies? Do you remember? I mean, I bought it and I don't even think I knew what I was buying when I got it. I just really loved the color of it. It's like a coppery shimmer, but they don't call it glitter. It was like a, I think it's something that you use in, what's that glaze where you, what is it called? The glaze where you mix two bottles together. What is that called, you guys? Resin. I think it's a glitter that you put in resin. But so they didn't call it glitter. They had some other name for it. And I agent gotten my Happy Mail for winning for last month sharing projects. I sent out all the prizes from that I needed to catch up with like a few days ago, and Kim just got hers. So if you, Denise, for the Craft It challenge, I think it was for you, it should be in the mail. And you should have gotten an email with the tracking number because I always give you guys tracking numbers. So check your email for a tracking number. Oh, I don't have turquoise. I want turquoise. All right, I'm going to journal. I may get quiet, but I am literally going to do a gratitude journal entry here, and I'll make it quick because I got to pee. Did I just say that out in public? I say all kinds of stuff in private in the Craft Therapy Club. Those girls hear a lot more from me than normally I say out in public. It's so funny. And this is a Craft Therapy Club project that we've been working on this month. But I thought I would bring it out into the public eye to show you guys. So you have a, you know, those of you who have been considering joining, you can see the kinds of things that we do. This is just one of the things that we did in November. I have a really cool project for December coming up, something I've never done. I bet none of you have ever done, but I'm super excited about it. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it out in public. So I'm working on a Craft Therapy Club project. It's the fact that I just told you that I have to pee is not something I would normally say out in public a whole lot. But I tell the girls in the Craft Therapy Club, it's like talking to my best girlfriends. Like, you know, you girls, you hear and know it all. You hear and know it all. So I apologize if that was too crass or intimate for any of you out there. I did not mean to offend anybody, for sure. Oh, Chris, I gotta go pee so bad, girl. I gotta go. But I want to do my journal entry, and I love my little, see, it's the little things, you guys. A stinking metallic Uniball pen in gold, just for me, it totally makes my heart happy. It totally makes my heart happy. So if I'm gonna write, I want to write in gold. So here we go. What is today's date? Why do I feel the need to put the date on the top? It just is, I don't know. It's linear and technical, and shouldn't you have a date on every date that you enter? You don't have to. If you don't want to date your entries, you don't have to. It's my stinking brain that I'm trying to retrain from all of these technical rules or standard obligations. I'm encouraging myself as much as I am you. If that type of journaling where you write in a journal and have a date assigned to each journal entry, if that bothers you or intimidates you or stresses you out, then don't do those things. Use your journals however you want. I'm trying to get away from this linear, and I have to practice it. All right. Gratitude journaling. What's today? It's Thursday. And your journal can say, there's no rule. You can swear in your journal. I'm going to give you permission to swear in your journal. You can cuss. You can pray in your journal if that's where your heart brings you. You can worry in your journal if that is helpful for you and help relieves your heart from things that, you know, so that when you go back to your family and your work and you feel better. Like, you do in your journal whatever makes you feel better. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Oh, and I had to go back and fix it. This is the practice part. I'm worried. That's the first 3 words I wrote. And I spelled worried wrong. And I had to go back and add the second R. Trying to stop doing that. I'm trying to just let it just flow. I'm really bad at it though. I'm worried. I'll read it to you in a minute. I will read it to you. It is very intimate, but I will read it to you in a minute. I know you can't see it because the gold on this paper, it doesn't show up very well. And that makes me happy. I like that it's really discreet. It feels more private to me. I know that doesn't make any sense because I'm going to read it to you. But on the pages when I'm flipping through them, it feels more private to me. And so that makes me happy. Okay, let me finish what I'm saying. I'm talking to God right now, girls. And now it's going to be really bold over here. I'm struggling to find the words. I'm going to go right over. I'm running out of room. I can't believe how much I'm writing. Anyway, I'm just going to go right over my graphic here. Good thing we gessoed it. Okay. Oh my gosh, I wrote a lot. And it's real messy and that doesn't bother me at all. It's my like real personality handwriting here. You see, this is like the real Gracie Groove. I want to answer it like sincerely Grace because I feel like I'm writing a letter to God. But okay, let's read it. Let's read it. I'll show it to you first. And then I will read it to you. Carol says, dating each entry seems so appropriate, especially when posterity may be the ones who read it and find the day-to-day things that we do so interesting, maybe even fascinating. Exactly, Carol, I kind of feel the same way. I actually really love you guys. I know with the Facebook subscribers, we haven't gotten to this, but we did a love letters sister swap a while back. And just about at the same time when I was shopping at the thrift store, I found some love letter books. Like one of them was love letters from famous people to their moms, I think was one of them. Like Napoleon wrote a letter to his mom. And then there was love letters from famous people. So it was like Marilyn Monroe to, who was her baseball husband? I don't remember his name. Like like the pages were all different. Like one was Marilyn Monroe writing to her husband, and they're just like famous people who wrote love letters. I don't know how these book editors got their hands on these private letters, but obviously they're not private anymore. I love reading them. I love like the Civil War letters to home, or like it just makes me feel so connected to the world. And I love to imagine, because it makes me feel like it's about gratitude. Like, oh my gosh, these people who lived through these wars, for example, the war love letters or just letters to home. If you can put yourself in their position, like if that were me, if that were my husband who was writing home and this is what he was saying, and I'm here home alone with the kids, like, wow, like it just makes me feel more connected to these people who went before us. Anyway, I'm a huge romantic when it comes to things like that. So I always feel like I write in letters, but your journal doesn't have to be that way. Your journal, you can literally just write phrases or words. There's no rule. This is how I tend to journal, but that doesn't mean anybody has to follow that way. It's just the way I do it. I think it needs to be personal to you. Kimberly says, I love Joe DiMaggio. Yes. Yes, Nancy, you're right. Kimberly says, I love this so much. I'm so glad. I'm hoping, and so I'm going to be doing this next month. I have 3 of these sessions on Sundays planned inside the Craft Therapy Club, because I get so many questions from all of you about how Okay, great. You made a junk journal, but now what? What do you use it for? And this is just showing you one way that you can use these journals. There are so many ways. Yes, Kimberly says it's kind of like old abandoned houses. I always want to know the story of why it's empty. I want to know the story of what that house witnessed through its life. I just find it so fascinating. I feel the same way about old schoolrooms, classrooms, old like because we have a lot of them in North Dakota. Like you'll just see an old schoolhouse just sitting in the middle of a field that they've restored or they keep, historically they keep it up and running. Um, I love that. I just think it's fascinating. Hey MJ, how are you? Hey Vicky. All right, I'm going to read you this. It's going to be, it's, oh, Chris says, I love that you said that, but I don't know what I said. That was a while ago. I'm sorry, Chris. Anyway, let me read. It's a little intimate. I can do a little explaining if necessary. November 30th. It's Thursday. I'm worried about Landon, but I'll place it in God's hands. That is so difficult to do, but I trust in him. Jesus, and so this is a prayer. Jesus, guide my mama heart to stay open. And I have to like do this so that I can see the metallic and actually read it because it's so dark. And I love that about this book. Okay. Jesus, guide my mama heart to stay open. That means my mind open, and give my boys the room they need to become. Yet help me guide them in a way that doesn't cause them to distance themselves from me. I'm grateful for our health, security, thankful for friends and our church family, their love and support. So it's a gratitude journal. So I always want to write in it something that I'm happy and grateful to God about today, because I think it's so healthy for our hearts to remember the good things, not just focus on, like I started out saying I'm worried, but also, Lord, I'm thankful. And these are the things I'm thankful for. Okay, why am I worried? So Landon, I told you he had a really difficult practice yesterday. He basically passed out at practice. They had a really, what does he call it? There's like a funny name for this practice. I can't think of it. I have menopause brain. I can't think of any words. Like Jeremiah, I couldn't think of the word. I don't know. Landon works extremely hard. He gets up early in the morning and works out, and then he has a 2-hour wrestling practice at the end of the day, and he stays late every day after wrestling practice and works out even more. He is extremely disciplined and fitness driven, athletic driven, and he is on a quest. This is just his own personal quest. I respect it so much. It's his own personal quest to test his fitness abilities. And then when we talked about it last night, I was like, you passed out. He like blacked out for a few minutes. They had a really intense workout. If you know wrestling, it can be extremely physically taxing. Particularly if you're a kid like Landon, who he wants to push himself to the absolute physical brink of how much can my body do. He signed up for a marathon this summer. He's not a distance runner, but he's like, after wrestling's over, I want to have something that I'm working toward. This is the way he is. Okay. I love him for it. If this is like shocking to you, I'm just telling you, it's in his DNA. It's who he is, and I love him for it. But as his mama, I said to him last night, I'm like, okay, teenage boys. We guide them, but I'm very aware that if I guide too much and push them too much, they will distance themselves. My husband and I talk about this a lot because I think my husband did this to his mom when he was this age and he was an athlete. If his mom asked him a lot of questions, he was like, he just wanted to like get out of the room because he felt like he was being like, grilled for answers. He didn't like that at that age. And he said, I don't want us to do that to our kids, where if we push them too hard for answers or like just drill them too hard, they're going to distance themselves. And Landon's 18. He will be off on his own next year. And I want to keep a really good, healthy, open relationship with him. So I'm finding it really struggling to like, my mama heart wants to like, okay, Landon, you blacked out at practice. Like, let's talk about this, but not push him so far that he doesn't tell me the next time it happens. Do you understand what I'm saying about that? I'm sure anybody who's a mom who has teenage, especially that age of kid, like at that age, I was so ready to be away from my parents and be on my own. And that's how Landon is. So I don't want him to walk away and not keep with us, like telling us what's going on in his life. Okay. That being said, when we talked about it on the way home from religious ed, I was like, okay, what did you eat? And I felt like I was grilling him. I said, what did you eat? How many hours of sleep did you get? Like, did you drink enough water? And this kid is so disciplined and knowledgeable. This is his passion. So he knows more than I do in terms of nutrition. He follows some wrestling nutritionists. Like, he's doing all the right things. So I said to him at one point, he's like, Mom, he gave me the mom. I drank enough water. So I said to him, listen, Landon, I said, I'm going to get emotional. I said, as your mom, I'm asking these questions not because I think you did something wrong and you need to be like told that, just because I want to help you figure it out. Like, your role shifts. When he was 12, I could have said to him, you're not going to practice again. Like, I want to say to him, like, no, you cannot work your body that hard. He's 18. He's basically a grown man and becoming himself. So I needed to remind him that this is your mom being worried, but I need to give him the freedom to do what he needs to do. It's such a hard balance, you guys. And I know I'm not doing it great. I'm not doing it perfectly. This is why I get emotional. And this is why I pray about it, because, oh, Jesus, just give me the right words to say to help these kids become with who they're becoming and love them for everything that they are becoming without, I don't know, pushing them in a bad way, or I don't know. I can't even find the words. If you're a mama and you know how I feel, say a little prayer for my mama heart, and I'll do the same for yours, because it's hard when you're a mom and they're in this teetering of, they're still our kids and they live with us. They're not full blown adults yet, but they are becoming. So I'm trying really hard to be so supportive and loving, but helpful without being pushy, overbearing mom. That's the word. I don't want to be the overbearing mom. I want to be the supportive mom. Does that make any? I hope it makes sense to you guys. Kimberly says you made me cry already. I get so emotional. I love my kids more than, no, I can't say more than. I can't say more. That's not even fair to say more than you imagine, because I know if you have kids, you love your kid. And I used to say in my prayer group, when you think about how much you love your children and you think of, like, you can't even describe it, more than, like, just fill in the blank, more than anything. I love my kids more than anything. And I just remind everybody, but Jesus loves you even more than that. Like, we cannot fathom the level of love that Jesus has for every single one of his kids here on earth. This is the stuff I usually do in the Craft Therapy Club. We get real down and intimate. So if you're seeing this for the first time from me, I'm giving you a little peek at the projects and the kinds of things that we talk about in the Craft Therapy Club. I get more personal, and this is an example of it. But I do believe that as much as a mother or father, grandparent, whoever, mothering figure, fathering figure on earth loves their children, like, you think nobody can imagine how much you love your kids, and Jesus loves us all, each one of us, even more than that. How is that possible? It's glorious, right? It's a glorious, beautiful love that I wish that everybody on earth can feel. I hope we all can feel it every day in our hearts, because if that's so hard to imagine, that there's more love, that anybody could have more love than we have for our kids, but we are his children and he loves us all that much. The love overflows. Exactly. Yes. Finding balance, right? It's so hard to find the balance of being the mom still, but not overbearing over them so that they want to distance themselves, right? Oh, Debbie says it never really ends. The worry and the praying, hang in there. I know that those of you who are moms, especially if you've been through this stage or you're going through the stage, that you get it. Like, it is so different than being a mom to, like, little children, totally different worries, or like middle school children, totally different parenting and worries. Now that he's like barely, like, almost an adult, like, you don't think it could happen, but there's the love grows, and then because of that the worry grows. It's just I think it's just human nature. Kimberly says, okay, this mama is crying, mine is 34, and you still ask these questions. Oh, I can imagine. I know that's going to happen. And that's where I'm like, Jesus, help me find the right balance between you know, supportive and loving, helping them figure out the obstacles that are holding them back, or like, he's struggling with this, right? Okay, yesterday he struggled with it. Helping them, but not overbearing them so that they want to say, just like stay out of it, mom. I would be devastated if my kids wanted to like keep me out. Nancy says, my son was a wrestler and I hated the fact that he would always have to drop a pound or two. This is the struggle. So you do understand, Nancy, the nutrition is so important, and Lennon is really good at this. But, and he pushes himself literally, as you can see, pushes himself to the brink, which I am so proud of him for and impressed by him. But at the same token, worried. We're at the same side. I worry. I worry about my babies. Paula says this kind of love flows right onto my adult children and now to my grandchildren. I can only imagine. Paula, when we had kids, and my in-law, my husband's brother and his wife, their kids we all had kids about the same time. And I remember my mother-in-law saying about being a grandma, this was when the kids were first born, like you think you've extended all the love you can on your kids, but she said it's so much more with your grandkids. I'm like, what? Like, because it's hard for me to imagine. It's hard for me to imagine that your heart can love any bigger. But she said, oh, you just wait until you have grandkids. I was like, oh, it was like, it really took me back, like gave me something to really ponder, because I do think about this stuff a lot. So thank you for sharing that, Paula. I think that's incredible. Chris says, I came from a wrestling family. You understand this? I did not know anything about wrestling until 3 years ago. Lennon just started doing this 3 years ago. He has not been a lifetime wrestler. So this whole culture, and it's culture shock. It is culture shock. He's played football. He's done basketball. He used to do baseball. He's tried hockey. This kid loves to just challenge. He always has loved. He's done taekwondo, not taekwondo. What is it called? Anyway, like he's done martial arts. He's done so much stuff because this is who he has always been, and I love him for it. But wrestling is a whole nother bag of beans. It's a whole nother bag of beans. Good morning, Bonnie. Okay, listen. I was happy to share my journaling with you. I am saving the cover of this book, the decorating of the cover of this book. We created it. We gutted a hardcover book. We created the signatures in the Craft Therapy Club. We taped and sewed and reinforced everything together. I'm waiting to do the cover of my book. It says Norwegian American Studies until I've finished. I love doing the cover last as a representation of what's inside. The what's inside evolves over time. So I can't put the cover on until I know what is in the inside, so that's why it's the last thing that I do. So anyway, I'm going to keep working on this, mainly inside the Craft Therapy Club, because this was our project this month. Craft Therapy Club members, I have 3 more sessions just like this. And this is something new that I'm trying, but I have 3 more sessions like this inside the group. They're all on Sundays. These are additions to what we normally do. And the schedule will be printed or posted either today or tomorrow. I've got Leanne working on that for us. She does such a fabulous job, and she'll create all the events so you guys can respond to the events for all our get-togethers in the group. Anyway, thank you. For all of you who are here hanging out with me, I got to get Gannon to the orthodontist. We got a 90-mile ride, little trip out of town. So I got to get myself ready for that, hoping I have enough gas in the car. And I have half of the boxes of those of you who ordered mystery boxes. I got half of them labeled and ready to go. I have 4 more to do, and I'll have plenty of time to do that before we leave town for this orthodontist appointment. So all of those boxes are going out today. Anybody who's ordered since the mystery box orders have been coming in, your orders will go out tomorrow. Have a very blessed day, you guys. Bye.